right now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the May Dinner with the Devs, the marketing edition. I am thrilled to be able to introduce the rest of the marketing team to all of you. We have a wonderful program ahead. If you have any questions about how you do marketing for video games, what a marketing team actually does for a game studio, the type of activities that we do, please feel free to put it in the live chat. And our live chat moderator, who you can see, Adam Kuda, will be able to get us the questions for us to discuss. So again, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, please make sure you do so. That'll make all of us very happy, so you can see what other notifications and exciting videos and information that we have for you. So the question that we are going to end with today, throughout this at the end of this stream, is what is the biggest marketing trend that you are excited about? But we have a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about, and so let's go right into the introductions and our marketing responsibilities. So we will start with Jill.
Hey everyone, I am Jill Sciulli. I am Senior Director of Marketing here at Schell Games. I've been at Schell Games for about 8.5 years now, but that time went super quickly. In general, I head up the team and I help with the vision of all of the different projects that we work with and help the team communicate out not only information about Schell Games and the business, but also our original games and about our CEO, Jesse Schell.
Good stuff. Thank you, Jill. Next, Adam.
Hi, everybody. I'm Adam Kuda. I am the Community Marketing Specialist for Schell Games. You probably know me better as Kuda Kuma on the Discord servers. My responsibilities basically are managing the community. So I am very active on the Discord servers for I Expect You to Die and Until You Fall, which I highly recommend that you guys check out and join if you haven't already. And I also do a lot of stuff with our original IP social media channels. So you should see me on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and such.
Good stuff. Thank you, Adam. We're throwing it to Allie.
Hey everyone, I'm Allie. I'm the marketing coordinator at Schell Games. I've been here for about 2 years now, and as the marketing coordinator, I'm kind of like the jack of all trades for the marketing department. So I work on a bunch of different stuff every single day. So I could do things like creating graphics or designing products like t-shirts and vinyl records. I make videos for the YouTube channel and edit things together for the social media channels, develop email marketing campaigns, write blog posts, and just run the Schell Games social media platform. So I'm all over the place, but I love everything that I get to work on, and it's fun to mix it up every now and then.
Good stuff. Thank you, Allie. Let's go, Kat. What you got?
Hello, I'm Kat DeShields-Moon. I am the public relations manager, and I have the distinct privilege of bragging on Schell Games every single day. So if it comes to media placement, press releases, lining up speaking engagements, or submitting our games for awards, my role is very much focused on making sure everybody knows what cool things we're up to.
Thank you. Thank you. Mack Attack. Let's go.
Hello. My name is Mack Nelson. I'm the web operations manager for Schell Games. I basically make websites. That's basically the job. Design, development, setting up infrastructure, all of that. Wearing a bunch of hats in like the actual like web development space is basically what my job entails, as well as occasionally running streams like this one. So I hit the go button on Streamlabs, and that's about it. So yeah, that's my job.
Well, not only does he hit the go live button, but he also makes sure that people can actually see the video and watch it and enjoy it. So thank you, Mac, for doing that. And then for me, marketing manager here, I do a lot of our social digital advertising, our trade show and events, our influencer marketing, and then assisting Mac and Jill with a lot of our store and digital copy and some marketing strategy here and there, and some vendor management here and there. So also just a little bit of everything. So that's the team. We do like I said, a little bit of everything. So thank you for your questions are starting to come in. So please don't hesitate. We do everything that deals with marketing could be considered as marketing. And so I want to start a little bit further back. How did each of get started in the marketing industry, and then two, getting into marketing for video games, and specifically Schell Games? I like asking these questions for our different disciplines, and for those who have been watching our videos a couple months now, we've highlighted the art team, the engineering team, the design team, and the producers. And we always ask them how they got started. So now I get the pleasure of talking to our marketing team of how they got started in marketing and then in video games. So we started off with Jill first. So let's start with Kat.
Oh, so I got my start as a newspaper reporter, but the industry crashed shortly thereafter. So I had to switch to marketing and PR, and it moved very seamlessly. So grateful for that. But I got involved with marketing out of necessity because newspapers weren't a thing. As far as games marketing, funny story. I started with a company doing games journalism with Game Skinny. So I got back to my reporting roots, and then something about public relations and marketing just rolled over into marketing for that organization and stayed ever since.
Good stuff. So I kind of started with the newest member of the team. Kat recently joined us, so we can kind of start that way. So after Kat would be Mr. Kuda.
Yeah, hi. Okay, so my start, I originally started I went to college for creative writing for entertainment, and was originally trying to get into writing for television. And while I was studying at school, an awesome internship opportunity came for me to work on campus with the community. There was like an internal social media channel that was only for people who went to the school, and it was me and then the main community manager, and we were the only two people working on this platform. And she was absolutely amazing, and it was such an amazing and cool experience that I was like, okay, I really like this. Maybe I actually want to look into more community stuff, and maybe I really want to do more social media things. And kind of just kept going, and throughout my career in college, I realized that my passion isn't necessarily TV, but I've been a gamer my entire life, so maybe I actually really want to get into gaming. So I had this community poll, I had this gaming passion, and shortly after college I moved over to Seattle, got a job working with customer support at Nintendo, and even further worked with some community stuff, doing some community insight things. And that just kind of really solidified marketing is definitely the path that I really I'm being pulled to. And I always consider myself this mash of creative and analytical, and it just kind of blends both of those worlds so well that it just fit really well. And then I found the opportunity here at Schell, and I love it. So yeah.
Good stuff. Go ahead, Mac.
Where do I begin? Okay, so the question was how I got my start in marketing and how I got my start in my specific discipline, which is web development. So I guess the web development comes first. I originally thought I was going to be doing video production, being behind a camera or holding a microphone or something. Very quickly, this was in high school, I changed my path to web development because I was I took a class in it and it was fun. So I was like, all right, this will be cool. Fast forward a couple years, I worked a couple jobs, some more interesting than others, and eventually was extended an opportunity to interview here. And I was like, wow, this can't be real. This job doesn't seem like it could be this good. No job seems like it could be this cool. And I'm glad that I overcame my doubts because it is actually that cool. And even cooler in some respects. I got to press the go button on Streamlabs today. That's pretty cool. So yeah, get to use, I guess, a little bit of that video production knowledge and put it to good use. And yeah, it's just like a pretty sick fit. And I guess that's sort of how I got into marketing too. Before that, I was just doing straight up web development at a couple of different places. I helped sell powder at GNC, like protein powder, not the other powder, if there is another powder that you might have been thinking of. And then I helped sell cars, mostly Toyota cars, for an automotive startup, whom I love and think back on dearly. So yeah, that's my story. Hope you liked it.
Thank you, Mac, as always. Go ahead, Allie.
Alrighty, my story goes pretty far back because ever since I was a little kid, I've always known that I love two things, which were graphic design and video games. So I started out with my N64 and Microsoft Paint, just like playing around, thinking that I knew what was going on, and I just never let go of either. And so then I ended up going to college for graphic design, pursued that degree, and I figured out that I liked more of the graphic communication side, where it focuses on like marketing, business, psychology, where you're trying to figure out how to get people to click, how to get people interested, like what colors and fonts and things should you use. And I liked delving into all the psychology behind that because it was super neat. So I went into that area. And right out of college, I got this interview at Schell Games, and it was amazing. And I thought back on my marketing classes that I took, and I was like, I think I could do this. Like, I think I'd really like this. And it's kind of crazy that I'm going into video games because I've always loved those. So kind of a dream come true. Didn't really think that any of this would ever happen. Didn't know that there was a video game company in Pittsburgh for sure, but here we are. And it's been really, really good.
Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so I've been at Schell Games. It'll be, was that 6 years? No, 5 years. 5 years in August. So which is wild. And born and bred with marketing and communications. Did all. I was at Nerd in high school with. I was the chapter president of our marketing club in high school for 2 years in a row, and all that good stuff. Competed in the national, international levels of marketing competitions. Went to school for marketing. Worked for a number of different marketing agencies in the lifestyle and high tech sectors, and then started to teach marketing at a high school in North Carolina. So I taught sports and entertainment marketing, marketing management, and principles of marketing. And then I was like, well, after teaching, being in the industry, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I wanted to go back into the marketing industry, and we moved back to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh native. And so went to North Carolina down there for school and all that good stuff, and came back. And I just wanted to be a part of a couple things. I wanted to be part of a high tech company. I wanted to find a company that really was fascinated with interesting consumer behavior. And if you're familiar with video games, gamers have very interesting behavior. And so that really attracted me about how we can formulate different marketing strategies and activities to get them to be interested or find out why they're interested in our games and experiences. And so that really drew me to Schell Games, and I've been there ever since. Now, Jill.
All right, I'm going to bring this home, and I'm going to be quick. So in college, I was studying business, and I learned accounting and finance and human resources. And while all those things were super exciting, I really gravitated towards marketing. I found it most compelling. It allowed you to be analytical and yet creative. And so I decided that that's what I wanted to do. I ended up getting my MBA with a concentration in marketing. I worked at several technology companies through the years and was looking to make a change about 8.5, 9 years ago. Met with the folks at Schell Games. They were at that time about 40 folks, and they were looking to start building their marketing department. So I signed up, and when I came on board, we had an out-of-date website and a couple pieces of collateral, and that was about it. So in the 8.5 years that I've been here, we have grown a solid team, a wonderful team, and we have done a lot of exciting marketing projects in the meantime. So I am happy to be here and happy to be with all of the people on this team.
All right, so now we've established where everybody is coming from, so we can address a couple questions here. Doomify asks, or Doomify asks, does the marketing team make the trailers? So, in a sense, the trailer development is owned by the marketing team. There are some cases where we have resources where we can pull videos together internally, but there are instances in which we use vendors to help us create it, but we own the vision. Jill, did you want to go into any more detail about that?
Yeah, particularly with the mixed reality trailers that we've been doing, those involve the hiring of actors, and they involve very intricate lighting and equipment needs. And so we definitely work with vendors on those types of activities. But typically the creative and the script writing comes from marketing. We work really closely with the developers to help with those and make sure that not only is our vision being created, but also that of the developers. And trailers are a very exciting projects to work on. But in the end, it is a wonderful product that really shows off and hopefully compels people to buy the game.
Good stuff. Let's see. Jeff, Bob, you have a couple questions, so we'll start with this one. Let's see. So Jeff Bob asks, what is your favorite form of marketing? Trailers, demos, ads, given it to YouTubers, etc. Let's start with Adam with this question.
Well, I'm 100% biased, and I'd say my favorite part of favorite form of marketing is definitely community marketing. I love interacting with the Discord server, and I think that there's a lot that can be done through building communities and through nurturing that kind of relationship. There's a lot of marketing that's done by word of mouth, and the best way to do that is to build a strong community. So, and then that kind of just helps build the community even further. So it just kind of, it grows upon itself, and it's an exponential like development cycle. And I don't know, I'm biased.
I know, Allie, you do just like you said, you do a little bit of everything. So, is there something in particular that you really enjoy seeing players interact with?
Yeah, I think it's more of the print assets, which we usually do at booths and convention stuff. So like the tablecloths, the banners, the business cards, the flyers we give out, the promo items, like all of those little things that make people want to come to your booth at a convention. I love all of that stuff, just trying to get people interested and come over and keep your stuff.
And please, if you guys have something that you want to tag on for the whole team, feel free to jump in. What about you, Kat? You're usually in PR world, but is there anything else that you enjoy seeing?
I am also biased. Earned media is my favorite form of marketing. There's nothing quite like, seeing a headline for something cool that you did, and then in a publication, and then you can share it with the community and people get excited and starts conversations. My favorite is feature stories in the earned media, because it gives us a chance to go behind the scenes and into detail with some of the finer points of things that we create, games, insights, interviews, so that kind of transparency at a big scale is one of my favorite things. There's nothing like it.
How about you, Mack? Because not only are you you're doing the web, but you also make some things on your own, and you also like some of the others here, but you have a vast knowledge of a lot of games, and so what's stuff that you particularly like to see or do, or what types of things are you just generally interested in? How you see players interact?
I am also biased. No, I'm just kidding. I would say beyond websites, because I do actually like love looking at like different like marketing like websites for video games that come out. Seeing like what nifty like tip or not tips, but like just like things that they try in order to make their website stand out. But no, that is not my favorite. My favorite thing is actually trailers. I love trailers like so much. Like I think that a good trailer is like one of the greatest ways to sell a game like ever. And I know that like some game purists might be like, no, that's no, I want to see gameplay. I want to see blah blah blah. And it's like, no, actually just put like a really cool music track on top of like some really cool like shots like inside the engine or whatever, and like I'm sold. Like I'll buy your game for $60 on release. So yeah, that would definitely be my pick. I love seeing trailers. I'll watch trailers forever.
See, Mac, and we love players like you. So thank you for that.
Easily sold on trailers with no gameplay. Pre-ordered. Let's go.
Let's put something pretty in front of him, and he'll buy our game. Yes.
Yeah.
You're our favorite target audience, Mac.
Yeah. What can I say? I'm an avid gamer.
What about you, Joe? I mean, you've really seen Schell Games grow. I mean, obviously, from a team of 1 to a team of 6, and what type of activities have you really enjoyed? Either with Schell Games or what you like to see, because I know. So Jill and I share an office, and so we always piggyback. I was like, "Have you seen what so and so is doing? Oh, do you take a look at this?" So what type of stuff have you really enjoyed seeing?
I was hoping that you wouldn't ask me this question because it's like picking your favorite child.
Okay, outside of Schell Games. Yeah.
No, so I mean, in terms of my favorite types of marketing, it's funny. When I went to school, and maybe I'm dating myself saying this, but social media was not a thing. Like we didn't learn anything about social media. So, to see this as a tool that has really blossomed over the past 10 plus years has been super amazing. And to learn all of the different ways that you can use it to attract audiences and to create audiences and create community. It's so amazing to me and wondrous in terms of the different technology that's there and the different ways that you can use it.
No, I would second that. I mean, with in like in my studies for both advertising and public relations, we'd always talk about this theory of communal consumption and how we target these gatekeepers, because these are the opinion leaders, and one day it'll be democratized, and come 2016, boom, influencers like that. That's what that is. That's the evolution of gatekeepers and opinion leaders, and those who are able to share resources with people looking for stuff. And to your point, that if I would have told my college self that you're going to be running influencer campaigns and paying YouTubers to play your experiences, I'd be like, yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds crazy. But yeah, I mean, Kat and I spent 90 minutes today talking about influencers and content creators and how we manage to program, and so it's absolutely wild. So to Jeff's point, my favorite form of marketing is just the speed and the adaptability of which we are able to try new things and see what is salient to see what resonates with the consumers is super cool to me. And then my favorite form of marketing is also anything that's backed by data. So we could say, oh, here's why we did it. Here's what we did. here's how it worked, so you can give us more money so we could do more of this, right? So that's my my A, B, and C. We prove why we should do it. We did it, and here's why it worked. So that's stuff that we can prove that is successful. That's what I like.
And luckily, those advertising and influencer campaigns that you do, we have the tools that track all of that information after a campaign is done. And so that is perfect.
That's right. And thankfully, more hits than misses. so there's also that. Let's see. Hi. I was just telling Kat that I don't know how to say I want to say it's Virana. I don't want to say one of those, but you ask out of curiosity, do you miss conventions? Yes, I miss conventions. I miss conventions so much. Yes, and also, well, I want to email you because there's stuff that I want to talk to you about. But also, everybody else about conventions, conferences. Do we miss them? Can we not wait to be back?
I've
What do we
never been
think?
to one, so I miss the idea of going to one. So, for sure.
What?
Yeah.
Cat just died.
I'm rolling the ball in Schell Games court. See if I can get squeezed into one of those, even if I have no reason to be there whatsoever.
Maybe we'll try to make a reason for you to be there in 2022, Matt.
Yeah, I'm the website that you can only see at the convention.
Exclusive content.
Exclusive HTML and CSS.
I mean, I've obviously never been to a convention with Schell Games, but I absolutely miss them. And as someone very involved with the community, I am very, very much ready to see and meet people from the community in person. So yes, definitely miss them.
Yeah, I cannot wait until conventions are a thing again. Funny story. I was actually working DreamHack 2019 and I saw Until You Fall and Schell Games, and it was just like, oh, I'm gonna go check that out. But I was working, so it was just like I didn't have the time to. And lo and behold, here we are, 6 degrees of separation. But yes, conventions, totally miss them. Can't wait.
And then Allie, was DreamHack your first conference with Schell Games?
Yeah, because I did trade shows and things, but a convention is so different. So yeah, DreamHack was my first one, and then the pandemic hit right after. But I'm excited to go back to other conventions.
Yeah, and then so since I typically run point for our trade shows and conferences, I can't wait to get back to conventions. It's just being able, and with a lot of our original games being in virtual reality these past couple of years, just being able for our experience to be somebody's first VR experience is fantastic. Fantastic. They put the headset on, and then all you see is whoa, or like you see or you hear nothing because they're just blown away of what they're seeing. And then they take off the headset, and it's like, so what do you think? And they're like, that was amazing. So yeah, stuff like that is just so cool. It's so rewarding, and being able to be that catalyst to go back to the project teams and telling them what you are doing is amazing. That's a fun message to tell the rest of the team.
That always reminds me, Dwayne, of when we went to Orlando for the Serious Games Challenge, and that we were demoing HoloLab Champions there. And the number of compliments we got on that educational project were just amazing, and we ended up winning awards. But the best part of it was just people really recognizing how amazing these games are and how innovative and how immersive they are in terms of education. And it's an interesting thing that we get to do, that we get to not only market educational games, but entertainment games.
No, yeah, absolutely. Because I think also particularly that conference, and there might have been one or two others that we get a chance to see repeat people. We'd be there for 2 to 3 days, and day one they're like, "Oh, this is amazing." Day two, they come back and say, "Is there a line? Okay, I'll come by when there's no one there, so they can spend more time in the experience." It's just a lot of fun to see that.
And they would bring their friends, and then those friends would bring friends. That's the best. That's when you know that you're really doing okay.
Oh yeah, super fans are born at conventions. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Let's see. We have a couple of. Let's see. Night Eye Killer, thank you for coming in again. I love every time that you're on the stream. You always provide some good questions. Does the marketing team come up with merchandise ideas, or is that a different department? So, similar to the trailers, the merchandise is owned within the marketing department. People can come with us with ideas, but ultimately, sourcing the vendor, or going through the process of getting the merchandise is ultimately with the marketing team. And so specifically, Allie, you helped out a ton with the Until You Fall vinyl album. And so, it was, her and I kind of worked together with getting a vendor, but you were instrumental of, didn't mean to do that. But you were really a core part of getting the art done, making sure it, fit the cover. So you could talk a little bit more of how that project really came to fruition.
Yeah, that project was really cool. I was almost kind of like a liaison between marketing and art, which was a very interesting new position that I had never really tried out before. So I would go to the art meetings and I would see what the artists were working on. And then I'd be like, don't know if this works with marketing. Like maybe we need to change this or like move this over so there's room for text, and just making sure that that all worked from a marketing standpoint, but also that the artists were happy with the work that they were creating too. So that was a fun process. And then also just putting everything together. So little bits that people didn't get to, like making the one part of the sleeve, the spine, where people just hadn't thought of that part yet, making sure that we had text that said "Until You Fall" on the side, and doing the center label and picking out the colors. It's just such a fun experience to work on promo items in general, especially when you get to work with more people. So it was really fun.
Yeah, and then for Jill, for us is trying to find a vendor who'd be able to make a vinyl album. I mean, that took a long time of, will they actually do it? Where can we sell it? When is it going to be available? What's the price per unit? Can we actually do this? So there are a lot of questions that we had to figure out before we could even get started with the art.
That's absolutely right. It's amazing the amount of people involved in these types of projects, the amount of decisions that need to be made, the amount of vendors that you have to work with. So, you would think, oh, let's just sell an album, but doing that really does require a lot of time and effort on everyone's part.
Yeah, good stuff. Let's see. Tusk Walrus asks, how do you recommend getting into working in marketing? And so I'll kind of expand this into, how do you recommend getting into working into a position that you have, right? So, getting onto a marketing team for a video game studio, or a creative company studio. And I see you nodding, Kat, so I'm going to nominate you to go first if you want.
Nice.
Oh man, I was nodding, trying to get my thoughts together.
Well, that's what you get for moving. I'm like a T-Rex. I just see movement.
From here on out, just nut. Be like, is she frozen? Hello.
Yeah, that's right. Get one of those Zoom backgrounds that you just stay like that.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a great question. So public relations, geez, something that really, really helped me was having a reporting background, and having to talk to press so much. You get to know, like, yes, this is what I like to do, well, not what I like to do, but this is what reporters respond to. This is what makes them irritated. This is how to format, how to talk, present your ideas, when you should present your ideas. So that having that insight, and I think it's really now, to Jill's point with social media and whatnot, it's easier than ever to find a publication on Medium and get started, or freelance, for BuzzFeed, or, there's just a ton of places that you can get published. But having that insider knowledge of like what reporters and press do and don't like and what they're looking for is a great stepping stone. And you'll learn how to write. And that's like one of the biggest things about public relations is press releases. You're working through articles. You have to know how to write well, and do a lot in a little bit of space. So I think that would be my number one thing. But if it was just public relations proper, geez, that's a great question. If it was public relations proper, I would say go and find something that you're passionate about in your community. It can be a video game, it can be, your choir, it could be an after school program, and then just start promoting them, so be like, hey, I want to do an article about how we're solving this problem, and pitch it, to different publications, or keep an eye on like different like community awards or something, places where you can be recognized for the work. So using and volunteer your services, or, you can get paid for it once you get some momentum, but start with something that you're passionate about and you could talk about for forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and never get bored. And then find ways to continue that conversation towards other groups using articles or shout outs, interviews, stuff like that. So it's a real grassroots approach, but the lessons that you'll learn is invaluable, and it'll give you, oh, I got placement in the Washington Post, not doing so bad after all. Yes.
I have to agree with so many things that Kat said. One, writing skills, like that is super important, and not just from a PR perspective, but all aspects of marketing. We rely on writing for so many of our activities, from short posts that appear on social to, our website and blogs to, our PR pieces. So writing is a really important skill, and I would encourage folks who are interested in marketing to hone those writing skills as best they can. And then the other thing that I think that Kat was super right about was like, it is hard to get a foot in marketing, but if you volunteer your services for a club that you're involved in, if you're in college and, you're in a fraternity or sorority, or you are in, a business club, make sure that you're helping with those marketing activities and promoting that club. And that experience will carry a lot of weight. As a hiring manager, I understand that it's hard to get your foot in the door. But if you're proactive and you are entrepreneurial and you do things like volunteer for, different activities that you're participating in, like that counts. And I will look at that and I will say, yes, this person is doing a very fine job. And I will take that into consideration as I'm looking through a resume.
Yeah, how about you, Adam? Like, how would somebody, get involved in, starting with community marketing, community management? It could be, tagging on what Jill said, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like that's the basis of it, right? Like, I mean, writing is very important. I'll agree with that. But I think that, yeah, for the big thing, especially with community stuff, is like try to become a mod in a server that you're in, or make sure that you're active on social media and you understand the different platforms, just really being familiar with the idea and the concept of interacting with people and community, customer service. Like, honestly, like a lot of my background is customer service, and I think that really helped a lot, because you understand like the idea of relaying messages that maybe people don't necessarily want to hear. So that's a really important skill to have too. So So yeah, customer service. Don't discredit that kind of work. And then yeah, trying to become a mod on a server, or putting yourself into that situation, or that position where you're working with people and presenting yourself and as a representation of something that's beyond just yourself, if that makes any sense. Like representing a brand, representing an influencer as a mod on their server, or representing a company or a club or whatever. Like if you put yourself in that shoes, then you will definitely, like, that's a good place to be to get that experience.
Even like mod projects, I would say, like, I guess I have two places to go with this thing here. Ingratiating yourself and finding ways to contribute to like unofficial, like sort of volunteer based gaming projects is like a fantastic way, I would say, to be able to like edge yourself one step closer to officially breaking into like the industry. I know that having like specific mod projects to be able to like speak to, even if it wasn't like on my official resume. By the way, there was a time where having a mod project got me like my job. So yeah, it is a thing, and it can be a thing. But even if it's not on like your resume or portfolio or whatever, being able to have that in your repertoire and like speak to your experience, because that's like one of the places where you'll be able to effectively wear multiple hats, even if you're not like doing what exactly is enticed or described in the like job description that you're going for in marketing. Even being like anywhere in that project, you'll be able to effectively find ways to wear multiple hats and take responsibility in other areas. I would also extend that to like small companies. I would say in general, the smaller the company, like the easier it is to be able to essentially find ways to wear multiple hats and contribute in other areas that might not be in your specific discipline. I know for a fact that I came into a startup just doing front end web development and ended up getting experience in obviously front end development as well as back end development, marketing, design, like so much experience just from joining like this small company that definitely helped me get a leg up in terms of like being able to apply for this job and just other opportunities. So yeah, I would say volunteer projects in gaming specifically, if you're trying to get into marketing and gaming, are very important, as well as if you find an opportunity by joining a small company, definitely like, go the extra step, show initiative, and you'll most probably find yourself in the position of being able to contribute in other areas of the company.
And I think that like really lends itself to just the general tip of just marketing, like sorry, not marketing, but networking. So like marketing yourself, networking is so important. Like I wouldn't say that necessarily was what got me the job here, because I kind of was new to the environment, but I would say that like because of my networking like in the past and like meeting new people, like, and like that got me opportunities that got me ready for this position. So without networking, like I wouldn't have had the opportunity. Oh my God. Jade says hi.
Jade agrees.
She does. Networking is very important, from Jade herself.
That's right.
Muting myself for a second.
No, I will definitely agree with that as well. Honestly, the first thing I tell anyone who's looking for any type of job that is like in marketing or tech or like anything like that is to have a LinkedIn account or have some sort of like professional account where people can see the work you've done and the people that you're connected with and just generally how you present yourself. Like all of my jobs have been found through LinkedIn. Just LinkedIn, actually, not even like any of the other services. I'm not sponsored by LinkedIn, by the way. But yeah, I mean, in general, just anywhere like that, I think is important to have a solid presence on when it comes to networking.
Not necessarily just LinkedIn, but like a portfolio or something.
Yeah.
which is relevant even if you're not an artist. Like you can have a portfolio as a writer or as a marketer, like building a portfolio or examples of social campaigns that you've put together. Like that's definitely a thing that is valuable. One of the things that I needed to turn in when I was applying was proof of like community analysis that I've done in the past. So like evaluating comments on like a certain subject and like, okay, like what information can you gather from the comments that people have left on this article? Like that isn't something that you would think would be in a portfolio to say, but it is something that you can develop if it is something that you want to look into.
Yes, Adam, thank you for bringing up a writing portfolio, because that's actually something I always recommend, especially to graphic designers, because if you can show that you can communicate your ideas and that you're willing and able to receive feedback and give feedback, that is probably one of the most important things for a designer to know specifically, and just like anyone working on a team in general, is feedback and constructive feedback and how to give and receive it in a really good way. So you should never be backing up what you're doing by saying like, because I like it, because that's not a good reason. Like you should have reasoning and communicate that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all. Jade barking.
Let's get Jade on the mic, see what she thinks about this topic.
Oh, I always laugh harder when you're not supposed to be laughing, so pardon my face right now.
Oh, 100%. I've been...
Yes, Jade.
Yeah, here she is.
That's great.
She's got a big bone.
Marketing mascot, isn't she?
Yeah.
That's great.
We need to get her an orange jacket too.
Oh,
That-
that'd be so cute.
That'd be amazing.
Oh, you heard it now. Getting a jacket for pet.
Let's find a
All right,
vendor.
let's-
Next convention that I can bring her, we'll have her in a jacket.
I'm down for that.
Yes. Big
Let's
plus
see.
one.
So speaking of portfolios, there's a question for Mack from Jeff Bob.
Nice.
What's the best way to start out in web development? Should people start working on website builders like Wix, or use HTML code and build from scratch?
I know that there's definitely a few people that have managed to create careers out of building, like using page builders like Squarespace and Wix, and they market themselves as like more like web designers, and that's how they build. I also know a few creative agencies value that type of experience. Personally, that is not how. That is not the specific discipline that I have thrived in. I definitely have not found any jobs personally using website builders like that. My advice would be to go to freecodecamp.com. Not sponsored by Free Code Camp. I just think it's a really good resource. And start doing those like HTML and CSS tutorials. It's a great course. I actually did use it when I was teaching a course to like high schoolers. And it was very, very helpful. It basically did my job for me. So thanks, Free Code Camp. But yeah, no, I think that learning the fundamentals at least is a very good way to, even if you do decide to go back to like Wix and Squarespace and stuff like that, knowing the fundamentals is very important to be able to take full advantage of those tools. But yeah, besides that, just basically a lot of the information that we just shared is still like very, very viable. Like, you know, having a decent portfolio, being able to speak to really it, especially in like small companies, being able to speak to more experience than just web development, being able to show that you are well-rounded in whatever team that you're going to end up joining. Because even if you're not going to be doing that stuff, it helps to be able to understand what other people are doing to be able to be a better teammate, basically. Yeah. Honestly, this question is like, it could take hours to answer, so I'll leave it there because we only have like 10 minutes left, I think. Which is incredible, by the way. Like, wow, like, we just blitzed through 50 minutes. We should just keep going. Let's just keep going. But yeah, no. That's...
AM, didn't we say that? 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.?
6 a.m.
Yeah, we're doing a 12-hour stream. Sponsored by Red Bull. Just kidding. Just kidding.
There's
that's
the
a-
sponsorship.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it
You knew
is.
it was coming. You knew it was coming. That's what I was talking about when I said being able to be cross-functional.
Hashtag not sponsored by Red Bull. But
Yeah,
go on.
yeah.
But I mean, we're open to it if that's something
Yeah.
y'all want to
If they come with
do.
a proposal.
I would be more than willing to take a buy/Red Bull sponsorship to the moon. If anyone's
Oh,
listening
God.
from Red Bull or buy, let's get something working.
Your move, buying Red Bull.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my answer for how you get into web development.
All right. Let's answer a couple more of these questions before Jay comes on and tells us that we have to stop. Let's see. Which one do I want? Let's see. Let's go with Joe to Pro. Joe to Pro asks, how has the pandemic changed the way you guys normally do things? I'll send this to Joe.
Wow. Yeah, we were really sidelined at the beginning by the pandemic. Maybe we had plans to work from home for a few days, but next thing we know, it's weeks and months and 14 months. A lot of the things that we were planning, we had to rethink. In-person events were definitely one of those things. And then from a team perspective, how we communicate and how we do meetings, even some of the water cooler activities, where you're catching up with each other, that all needed to be rethought. For instance, now we do on Fridays, we meet from like 9:30 to 10, and we just have what we call, our coffee time, where we bring our favorite beverage and just sit down and not talk about work, but just talk about fun things that are going on in our lives. And it's been a great way for us to bond, especially because we've had 2 new folks that we've hired through this pandemic, Adam and Kat. That's amazing, one, that we could manage that, but 2, hopefully make them feel welcome and part of the team, even though we've all been remote during this time.
Good deal. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the follow up on that, Variana asks, do you feel you've adapted well and thrived during the pandemic, or is it a lot of still flying by the seat of your pants?
I'm always flying by the seat of my pants. So
To be fair, I think that's part of marketing, is being flexible in the moment, right?
100%.
Yeah. I feel. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Allie. Was that you?
Oh yeah, I was just agreeing with Adam because he had a good point. But yeah, I mean, even with my job, every single day is so different that, it's still like that. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that we are. Yeah, the marketing is fortunate that we are primed to adapt when things change, and just to Kat's point, going from journalism to PR, it's like, hey, gotta make that change. For us, going from in person to thinking of how we do things virtually, it's like, okay, well, how worth it are virtual events? Maybe we rely more on advertising. I was like, okay, well, let's make that change. So I think that thrive. Well, thriving is interesting because we haven't really missed a beat, in terms of working. We were always trying to execute and plan and perform as a marketing team. And just the pandemic has given us, just what Jill said, other ways or other perspectives of how we can think about certain activities.
Well, and didn't we launch at least 2 new projects during this time? History
At
Maker
least.
And until you fall out of early access, yeah.
So that's amazing as well.
Not to mention the I Expect You to Die 2 rollout, like the announcement and the launch and everything, right? Or not the launch, but the announcement of the project. Yeah, I think we've done very well, considering that it could have gone a lot worse. So, yeah.
Also helps that you're natural communicators. Like that's what marketing is
Oh, yeah.
communicating. So
That is a very, very good point.
I don't know. I kind of feel like Adam and Kat, because they're new to the team, maybe they have an interesting perspective that they could share with us, since this is the only time that they've known.
Yeah, I mean, I I feel like I haven't had any like major hurdles. Like, I mean, it's weird to like think that I only ever see these guys like through a camera.
Yeah.
But but other than that, like communication is on, like it's on point, and I feel like we get our stuff done, and like it, I don't know, I get to stay home and work with Jade sleeping at my feet, so that's kind of cool. But like I don't know. I don't feel like anything has been too I don't know. I guess it's hard for me to compare because I don't know what it's like working in the office. So maybe when we get there, things are going to be, like 12 times better and more, like we're going to have all of the crazy community events then. But I think as of right now, I do pretty good. So that's, my brag moment of the day. So.
I don't know, 12 times. That's some high expectations. I don't know if we can deliver. Maybe 3 to 4 times better. 12 times. Whew.
Hey, high expectations.
Yeah, that's high praise, Adam. All right, so we have a couple minutes left. Let's see. Brad Flory asks, do you think that short form content, YouTube Shorts, TikTok are good avenues for marketing games? It seems like that industry hasn't explored these avenues very much yet. So it's funny. Me, Jill, and Allie have talked about this. I would kind of push back about saying the industry hasn't explored these avenues very much yet. I would say that they haven't explored them well. Like I think that there are still, and even even for us, we're trying to think about. It's like, okay, well, we're so used to creating polished experiences, and whenever TikTok is very much not, how do we create the content that will resonate with consumers but still get our message across? So I think that's probably what a lot of people are tackling, and it's very interesting. So Jill, Allie, or others, if you have any opinions on that.
I mean, yeah, pretty much what you said about how it hasn't been explored very much yet. But if there's one thing that a lot of people have a big takeaway with, it's usually who started it first. Like, which trend is everyone going to hop on, especially on TikTok? So if you started that trend of using whatever hashtag, of using whatever video format that you do or editing, then like do it. That's what everybody's trying to figure out right now.
Good stuff. All right, let's go. Let's see. Jeff Bob, is it not weird for making educational games when you have a spy game called I Expect You to Die? Okay.
I think about that a lot.
So that's very interesting. And, Jill, you can say a little bit more about this. We do both entertainment and education games, and a lot of the best practices that we create in our entertainment sector, we kind of jump over and use that creative aspects to make the educational games not only just fun, but also find out ways of how we can change the player with using our subject matter experts and using, that researched, back experiences. So, Jill, anything that you want to improve on that?
Yeah, everything that you said was right on target, but in terms of marketing, they might seem dissimilar, but in terms of the actual things that you are doing, the different types of marketing, like those fundamentals hold from business to business or business to consumer, or from entertainment to education. So the fundamentals remain. It's the audience changes, the message changes, but the fundamentals will always stay true.
All right, let's see. Agent Bolt, release date for I Expect You to Die, please, soon. Let's see. What's the studio's favorite way to market things? We kind of addressed it at the very beginning. We all have our own little children that we're super proud of, and so whenever all of them together, they make a super adorable team, and we're thrilled about the team. What's the best way to market products like games? Every game is different and every team is different and every team could have a specialty, right? So some teams can do something very, very well or has some type of competitive advantage, like maybe like a ton of money and they can flood it. So there's that too. Let's see. Oh, here's one that we can end on. Brian Crumston, he asks, let's see. I am currently getting my MBA and focusing on marketing and analytics. What should I focus on to help differentiate myself? So to end with this question, let's expand it with the question that we wanted to end with before we get to our announcements. Stay tuned for our announcements. So what's the biggest trend in marketing that you're excited about? And for those who are studying, how can they differentiate themselves? So let's start with, we'll start with Joe.
Okay, well, one of the trends that I'm excited about, I just learned about it earlier in the week, met with a company who's doing personalized videos. And this is actually a little bit more in depth than just slapping like someone's name on a video. They're personalizing it to help with acquisition and customer service and all different parts of the customer life cycle. But not only are they personalizing it in terms of like adding someone's name, but they're actually like personalizing the content itself. So, if you are interested in buying a certain product and you have certain specifications, like this company can put together a video that will just include those specific types of information that you're looking for. And I just felt that was really interesting. So I think it goes to the whole trend in marketing of personalization and really making sure that you understand, who your customer is and reaching out to them with a personalized message. Was there a follow-up there as well?
To how to differentiate yourself.
Yes.
I would say do something creative. If you want to get into marketing, perhaps you need to do something creative and get someone's attention.
One of my friends showed up at the office. One of my LinkedIn friends showed up at the office. That was his something creative. I don't know if that's something that you would recommend or not in the future. But do you remember that, Joe?
I do. Since we're not at the office, I probably wouldn't recommend that right now.
Yeah. Don't show up at people's home offices either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's part not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mack, you're talking. What biggest trend about marketing are you excited about?
That's a good question. I don't really think about this often. The biggest trend I'm excited about, I don't really have anything in specific. Honestly, the thing I go back to over and over again is just seeing what can happen with really, really cinematically edited trailers. Like as the like graphical fidelity and like graphical capability for games to like approach cinematic levels of niceness. I don't know. It's 7. I can't think of words anymore. Yeah. I just really like cinematic trailers. That's, I guess, my answer. I guess that was a bad answer. It's not really
That's a great answer, Matt.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was you answer.
Yeah.
And it's always appreciated.
Yeah, the cinematic trailers? Yeah, that works. That's my answer.
There you go.
And how to differentiate
Kat, you
myself.
spoke up. Go ahead, Kat.
Oh, Mac, did you want to talk about differentiating yourself?
I
Yep,
already
sorry,
talked about
Matt.
showing up at people's home offices, so I guess.
Oh, that was the, oh yeah, okay. Yep, that was Oh man. I think the trend, I don't, it's not really new, but it's one that I absolutely love is switching from like, here's a thing, buy this thing, take this thing. And it's instead like, how can I help you first, or solve a pain point or an issue? And it's like marketing as a service, so obviously we can't just give everybody free games, but what we can do is help the development community with like articles on like how to play test, or talking about how we use our game pillars or story stacks, and it influences the games that we make. So one of my favorite trends, and I don't see it going anywhere, is giving things away for free, and knowledge and support and wisdom, and using that as a way to meaningfully and genuinely engage with your audience. As far as differentiating yourself in marketing as a student, I would say it goes back to, you can sit in class and absorb all that knowledge, or you can take that knowledge and put it into practice. And you might not get paid for it, but experience is experience on a resume. Like nobody really knows like, oh, was this a paid thing or was it not? But you have projects to add to your portfolio, and that goes like across the board. I don't think anybody on this panel would be like, oh, well, you made a whole graphic series for a campaign. Nah, we don't want that. It's like, oh wow, you did that. And or you built a website, or you placed some articles, so the best thing, take theory one step further and put it into practice is the best way, I think, to differentiate yourself as a student.
Good deal. Thank you, Kat. Allie?
Yeah, so on more of a graphic design side, the trends that are really popular right now, they recycle every single year. It's like, which shapes are popular? In 2021, it's like geometric shapes. And what colors are popular? Pantone usually leads the charge every year. This year, it's illuminating in ultimate gray. And so you've got to kind of keep up on that, know what's going on. So I'm excited about those trends. I really like the idea of simple visualizations to communicate information really quickly without too much fluff. And I've noticed that people are doing that a little bit more, using serif fonts, using really simple flat icons. I think those are all super cool, and I'm excited to see them show up more on social media. As for differentiating yourself, I think a big thing that would help is just the very, very basics of design, like which file types exist and where do you use them? Or like just knowing how to open up Photoshop and do like one thing, like select something or remove a background, like just the very basics, so you don't always have to, I don't know, ask for help or like, I don't know, anything like that, just so you can do one thing and know how it works.
Good stuff. Adam?
So yeah, I'm gonna go along kind of like with Mac, and I don't think it's necessarily like big trend necessarily, but I'd say I really like the idea of transmedia. So not only like, so having a medium, so like a game, but like having a TV show that goes along with the game, and like expanding your IP or your product across different platforms and mediums. That is my big, I don't like, it's not a trend, it's been around forever, but it's certainly something that I see very like done well recently, I guess. I feel like, I look at examples like like Marvel, like they, like they're taking the cinematic universe from comic books, and then there's the gaming stuff, and I wish that they would blend a little bit more together, but they're like, you have to watch the TV shows to be able to be caught up with the movies and stuff. And I love that the stories build upon itself. Another really great example is like Final Fantasy. They do a lot of stuff that is cross games and then books and movies and stuff. So like transmedia is definitely my trend that I am very excited to see more and more things and people do. As for differentiating yourself, I would say my advice is to just like be yourself. like that is the biggest differentiation that you can possibly do. Don't pretend to be someone who you think is going to be best for the company, like that you're applying for. Be you, because you want to work at a company that that appreciates you for who you are, and that's going to shine through more than you trying to be this perfect applicant. Like if and with that, like, admit your flaws. Like, no one's perfect, and if you try to pretend that you're perfect, like, that is kind of a red flag in my eyes. Like, be open about what it is that you need work on, and more than likely you'll be put into a team and someone is going to be able to fill that spot that is your flaw perfectly, and you don't even need to worry about it as a flaw. But I think knowing yourself and knowing what your strengths are, but also where you fall short, like, I feel like that, and owning that is very important to differentiate yourself, because a lot of people just want to be like, oh, what do they need and how can I be that? And I feel like there's also really important to acknowledge, like, how can they feel what where I am, if that makes any sense.
Reach. Yes.
Man, these are such good answers. I'm so mad at myself that I didn't come up with an actual answer for these.
No, your
That's
answers were
so-
good.
Yeah, it was
That's
good.
good.
Mac.
Yeah,
Showing
like
up to the
like
office
Kat
is
said, that was
great.
you answer, and that was great. It was
Yeah.
great. Um,
Sorry, I didn't mean to do this
For-
pity Mac contest.
No.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm a big fan of strategy, and I'm a big fan of process and measurement, right? So in the marketing industry, there's growing schools of thought of marketing operations, right? So marketing operations, marketing ROI. How do we take marketing ROI out of the equation of sales ROI? And how do we measure what marketing activities do we prove to be effective and on a return on a particular type of marketing investment? So not so much relating it based on sales, but based on how we invest in our activities and how they reap certain benefits. And so for me, trying to find those opinion leaders, trying to find those technologies, those processes that can prove that out are very, very fascinating to me. With the small or limited tenures of a lot of marketing executives and bigger brands trying to figure out how they value or how they measure marketing, I think that that's going to be a very big thing, especially with personalization, especially with branded content, and a lot of the things that our team members said, how that fits into a bigger marketing strategy, bigger umbrella, is still trying to be proven out so we can prove it to others who don't know, what the black box of marketing, what exactly are these people doing, right? So, I think that and there's, there's a lot of lift that marketing has to do, and there's a lot of responsibility that are heaped on marketing people. And so, us trying to figure out how we prove what we do and how do we prove it in a well enough format for people to understand is going to be very, very important as cookies are disappear, how personalization is improved, and how all these different processes are coming online. And then for you specifically, Ryan, getting your MBA focused on marketing analytics, uh, being able to look at both quantitative and qualitative data in uh, focused ways, and not relying more on one versus the other, making sure that you give both equal value to what they do is very important. So, for example, for Until You Fall, okay, action packed game, blah blah blah, is really good, but anecdotally, people were using it as a fitness and an exercise game. We wouldn't have been able to figure that out using quantitative data. That is purely qualitative, and it fit that game very, very well. So making sure that you put I wouldn't say equal amounts, but don't disprove quantitative versus your qualitative data. Look at them at different lenses and see how they benefit whatever project that you're working on. Will be a tremendous benefit to your marketing and analytics studies. So, with that, we have some announcements. I Expect You Die 2 is going to be part of the Steam Next Fest. Yay! The demo. So, I Expect You Die 2 demo will be, I know, I got to correct myself. Yeah, Jill's about to send me a message.
That was close. That was real close.
Part of the Steam Next Fest. June 16th to the 22nd, get a chance to play the I Expect You Die 2 demo. Get excited for that. Other announcements, make sure you join the I Expect You Die Discord. Adam has been keeping that on point, and we're trying to grow that Discord, so you join it, have your friends join it, have your family join it. You know, don't spam people on Reddit, but if you do, make sure it's relevant subreddits and you tell them to join the Discord, so we appreciate that. Let's see. Also, wishlist. I Expect You Die 2 on Steam. You know, let's build those wishlist numbers again. Tell your friends, your family, random people who like games to the wishlist the game. We appreciate that. On our YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe and enable your notifications so you see trailers coming up on it and special videos that Allie works her magic to get them on for people to enjoy. And then the June edition of Dinner with the Devs is Games edition with a PR twist. I will be on hiatus, but you will be in very capable hands with Mr. Mack Nelson and Kat and a group of PR professionals. So mark your calendars for June 30th at 6 p.m. It'll be a wonderful stream, and I can't wait for you guys to enjoy it. Thank you for joining us today. Have a good night, and we will see you later. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.